Hello, 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 hello. Hey, puppy. It was the last day of hunting season. It's kind of sad. I don't know how many of y'all are into the deer hunting, but it was into bow season. Sure, we're off there. We're on here. Yeehaw. Can y'all hear me okay? Is my volume good? Move this back. Tesla early morning. How was y'all's day? See a few people on Discord saying that it was okay, but the afternoon was really choppy. Was that kind of most people's experience? It was like semi-easy morning or a few good plays in the morning and then kind of choppy all day? What's up? What's up? Just looking at a few charts so I can pull something up. I wonder if we get all the way back to all-time highs this weekend, Tesla. That's just crazy how that name goes. Why was it tough, Tori? Like, was there a specific reason it was tough, or was it just generally tough? And for you specifically, like, for every person it's probably different. Yeah, they've been a little bit strange, and it's probably just because of the massive move. They trade better midweek, I found. Like Tuesday through Thursday are usually the best days for options, in my opinion. Let's see, looking at these different time frames. All right. Yeah, I definitely felt that too, and I've actually kind of had that issue a little bit, where you'll take a Tesla, and it was okay in the morning, but a lot of times I've had it where it's felt like that. It was like that on Friday for me. It was like if my losses were a point and my winners were like 20 or 30 cents, and I just had to adjust where I was buying and where I was selling. I was holding like today a little bit longer early. Hmm. Did you do okay today, Mitchell? Yeah, I'm glad I didn't trade. I mean, I didn't shoot anything. I was just sitting in a tree stand all day, which, I mean, I'll take, to be honest with you. I really enjoy it, and it was the last day of the season, so just sat there and enjoyed the relaxing. Wasn't too mad that I wasn't trading. Yeah. It, it's strange how things like that can get to your head. Like if something's not working, trying to force things, or especially when you're doing these stochastic setups, to me, well, yeah, I mean, to me, one of the hardest things that have actually happened is you're like, oh, it could go here. Just because, like, maybe the stochastics or something are crossing up in the middle of the range instead of the bottom, which is a super low percent chance of winning. And you're taking it because, oh, the cues could go here, this could go here, instead of waiting for that, like, almost guaranteed win. I'm glad you ended green, though, even if you gave it back, because that does make a big difference. Mitchell, are you doing the tracker with us? And for the guys watching on YouTube, we're chatting in Discord. I'm commenting on Discord. So if you ever want to be a part of that, and you're free to join our Discord message after the video, you can post a message. I'll post a link to the Discord. You're welcome to join. It is free to join. Okay. Well, I'm gonna remind people of that. Anything specific y'all want me to hit today? I do that sometimes. I get frustrated and I'm like, I don't want to write this down, especially if you get back and you have to like be honest about losing. It'll help you to write it down though, I think. It helps me. Well, let's get this intro going, and then we'll talk some. And if y'all have topics, questions you want me to hit, feel free to throw them at me. You can always message me in Discord about different things. I'd be glad to answer. If it's something that you want me to answer on the show, I can definitely talk about it on the show. So, interesting day today. I didn't trade. I traded for about 30 minutes to an hour, and then I walked out. We'll talk to him about the day, talk to him about just trading this week, my thoughts on the week, what I'm trying to do going into a new month. Tomorrow is a new month, new day, so sometimes people use that as a chance to reset their minds, to kind of like reset their goals, as it were, to forget last month, because that was last month. We have a new month. We're zeroed out. So just some little bit of thoughts on that. Be a slightly shorter show, than some of our other ones, but we'll see. With all that, I'm Gator, and I'm here to help you navigate the market, your emotions, and everything else that comes with trading. Welcome to my swamp. Yeehaw. So looking at this, first thing I want to hit is what I did in Tesla, which is what I play. This is the almost 100% way I play Tesla, what I'm about to show you guys on a gap up. Y'all can see this. I moved my face out of the way. So what I look at, and y'all should be able to see my cursor, so let me know if you can't, is whenever there's a gap up in Tesla, even if the first bar is red, I am generally looking for two things if I'm going to play it long, and if there's not another name that I rotate to. I will try the first 1 minute breakout, almost no matter what. Now, that doesn't mean I give it a lot of room, and if it's really whippy, I generally don't play it. But if you have something like this, where I don't touch it on this bar. This bar opens, I didn't trade it, or maybe I took it when it was down here, and I bought, and then it went up a little bit and came down, and I sold to do a test trade or something. What's going on, Tim? So generally, I'm just talking about what I go through in Tesla on a gap up day. So when it gaps up, I'm not necessarily looking for the initial break of the high. I am going to play the first 1 minute break, and I'm going to play it fairly close to the trigger. So the way I played this one is you had these two digestive candles, and on this candle, I'm on this fourth candle, as it started ticking up, I bought, and I was not heavy at all. So it made it an easy trade. It's not like I was risking my day. It's not like I was risking anything. And I will do this with Tesla all the time when it's selling off. I'm not trying to buy every candle. I'm buying right near the break, small size, and then I catch something or I don't, and I'm okay with it whichever way it goes. If Tesla would have popped up and failed, I would have then tried it again the next time it hit a moving average. So I'll play the first 1 minute, the first 1 minute, and the first 8. If it fails to break out on both of those, I'm done with the name until it triggers. So I kind of allow myself 2 losses on a gap up day or gap down day in a name. That is my general rule for myself on on this name and on many names. So it went down. I took this, and because I was small size, I just held this move. And the Qs at the same time were absolutely ripping before Tesla did, or as Tesla did. So it's like you see the Qs shooting up, and then I saw Tesla going up. So I actually just held Tesla. I could open up Fidelity and tell you how long, but I probably held it for somewhere in here. And I sold just because it never really stopped. It kind of slowed down, but it never really ticked down much. It was just kind of ticking in the area, and I was up a little bit, and I wasn't heavy. I sold half, and then I was like, well, this is a free trade. Let's see what it does. And it ended up coming up here, and I ended up, I don't know, it was like almost 10 points or something. Generally speaking, that's not, the hold time is not something that I do when it comes to Tesla or any name in the morning, because it could literally just whip against you. But the Qs being so strong, it going down, actually breaking out and follow through. And if you go to a 2-minute chart here, you had the green takes red, which triggered, which made me want to hold it for the next candle. Often on a green takes red, if I'm like in the middle of a momentum play and there's actually momentum, I let the 2-minute candle play itself out. You know, right or wrong, sometimes that's how I play it, depending on how I feel. It's not necessarily a C strategy. If you're newer, it's not necessarily something that you definitely want to do, but that's what I did in Tesla this morning. So whenever you see Tesla gap up and you're wondering, which if you want to wonder this or not, you know, what would Gator do? What's Gator doing? He's pretty much just waiting to buy a 1-minute breakout. I'm not front running every candle. I'm buying fairly close to the trigger, or when the level 2 starts speeding up, when the tape starts speeding up, I'll buy. And then sometimes I sell really quick. Sometimes I give it room. Today happened to be one of those days I gave it room. It doesn't always work that way. And I caught some of that move. And at that point in the day, I knew I had stuff to do. I'm listing my home. So I turned into, okay, let's protect my day mode. 2 reasons I went to let's protect my day mode. I had a red day on Friday. I talked about it on the show on Friday night because of a little mishap. So the most important thing to me was not coming in today and continuing bad, or because of what happened on Friday, allowing a bad mental state to kind of hold me down, or to make it feel like I had to like make more money than I lost, or that I had to make it all back. And it would have been worse for me to trade aggressively and to give back my day after making a mistake on Friday. That could hurt me for the rest of the week. That could have hurt me going into the month. Instead of over trading, and I did trade some of this in Tesla, like I called some of the moves I was playing, and I was trading with you guys till about 10:30 or 11 o'clock. So there were other moves that we all, Mitchell, Booth, CT, myself, that we called out and played. I can't remember which one I called out that was pretty good. It might have been this one, what I was waiting for. But after that, and after I caught that move, which I was heavier in, I was like, okay, I'm done. And it was like I'm sizing down to 1 contract, 2 contracts. I'm gonna try to find some more trades while I'm sitting here, just to kind of practice and you know, do that whole thing. But at that point, it meant more to me to just be in a good mindset. Like, hey, I ended the month strong. It was the Mark V, but it was the green takes red going into the Mark V. So it was this. Let me get my face out of the way. Yeah, that was it, Mitchell. Thanks for reminding me. So this is the 2-minute. This up here is the 5. It was the first Mark V, so it was this strategy here. Oh, so it was that. So this, oh, it was the 21. Oh, that's the strategy I took. This was my biggest winner of the day. This was my biggest winner of the day. You had all these strategies timing up perfectly. After this, I sized down, and I was done. And I did end up making back more than I lost. So this was the strategy. You had a Mark V setting up, if you look at the 5-minute chart, meaning, well, technically it's not a Mark V, actually. And I think it was a 5-minute breakout, because you had a 5-minute low that triggered here. So by the letter of the law, this was not a Mark V. This was a 5-minute breakout. Let me look at the 15-minute chart. This was just going higher. Yeah, that's fine. What it was a 21. So you had the first time that Tesla had hit the 21 since going up. It hit the 21. I bought it on the 21. And then off that 21, you also had a green takes red, which pushed you through a 5-minute breakout. So that was the play. And to me, that was pretty much the best play, other than the first one. And the reason there's two ways to go once you do that, and there's plenty of days I'm going to do stuff like that and it's not going to work, but there are two ways to go. This chart here that we've been using, and if this is the P&L tracker that CT put out and that a lot of us have been talking about if you're in Discord, we're using this for a very specific reason. It's to force us to be honest with ourselves and how we're trading, to look back and to remind ourselves of what we did the day before, of what, like, you know, oh man, I'm giving back at 11, I'm giving back when I trade throughout the day. And it's just that reminder, like Mitchell said, that, you know, he had been writing this down, and, you know, today you don't want to, not to call you out, but, or you didn't just because, you know, you're frustrated. And I feel the same way. And writing that number down, like last week on Friday, and this is obviously just a blank one, actually forced me to like recognize and remember, like, hey, you know, if you trade more, you can screw up. And if you're going to keep trading, your trading should almost become like more technical and more defensive, and you really have to wait for the right setups. A lot of y'all were telling me that it was a choppy day, so I cannot recommend this enough. This last week, this has really helped me, and if I get up in the first, I because of this, I don't want to get too down or give back too much. So early, I'm treating kind of cautiously, not overly cautious, like I'm still taking my stuff, but I'm trying to make sure I don't bend too many times. Because the last thing I want to do is, you know, I can't tell myself I have all day to make this back. Like, I have to trade intelligently so I can look at this and be like, hey, I traded smart the first 30 minutes of the day. It's like an accountability, you know, thing. It's like, hey, I've been trading smart the first 30 minutes of the day. And then the next hour and a half or the next hour after that, you know, I traded smart then too. Whether or not it was red or green isn't overly important, but I traded smart. And if I had a, you know, let's say you had, you know, a 5-figure blowout or something in this range, you probably didn't trade smart in the 11 o'clock hour. If you did the same thing between 11 and 4, you probably didn't trade smart. So there are things that you can identify. But if I'm up a significant amount in this area, which I was up more than what I lost on Friday, I was like, okay, like, I've made that money back plus some. And I wasn't thinking about the money, but it's like, you know what, I don't care. I'm just going to trade smart. I'm going to find some nice plays, but I'm pretty much done. And I took that mindset and I wanted to apply it to this next month. Because what we have going on, it's now a new month. It's the 31st. No matter what you did in January is done. It might have been your best month on record, which I've talked to some people that this was. They're, you know, younger and coming, or older, or whatever it is. I've talked to several people, and 2 or 3 of y'all were like, this is, you know, one of the best months I've had. Other people have been like, it's been about average, and a few people had really, really bad months. But no matter where you are, when a month resets, people, what's the word I'm looking for? People kind of mentally start over. Yes. Some people are able to mentally start over. And I wanted to end my January with, you know what, I ended trading smart. So even though there were times in January where I had bad days and bad P&Ls, I can look back and be like, hey, I ended good. And I have a really good feeling about my January. Now my 7-day rolling or 5-day rolling P&L is really good. I've been trading intelligently. If I look at my, since we started doing this P&L tracker at the different times of the day, I've become a lot more consistent in my trading because I'm not trading as much in the afternoon. I'm being very selective. It's almost like a game, like how I say money's kind of a game to me when I'm trading, in the sense of I look at it like Monopoly money. But now I don't just look at it like throw away money, I almost look like it as in I want to trade in a way where I win more here, but I'm not trying to double. I'm just trying to like make smart trades, because if I don't make smart trades, I start giving back. I hate, when that hour is up or whatever, writing like a big negative number down on, a P&L time frame. If I started acting stupid, I really hate it. I hate committing my stupidity to paper. So I wanted to end the month on a positive note, and so I logged out and I said, hey, I'm done. I came back on, and I did one trade, and I caught like, I think 20 cents. And I was like, I'm done. Bam. I can now write up my 4 o'clock P&L that I made like $200 or something like that, or $50. And I'm like, bam, haha. And so technically it was a green afternoon. And then I went to the woods and sat there and watched a bunch of squirrels run around. And now going into February, whatever you did in January, we say every day you should come in and you should just start clean and you should do 0-0. Well, let's all be honest, it's not that easy, and it takes a lot of practice, and most times people don't necessarily do it, and they don't do it well. So what I did, or what I'm going to be focusing on, is that 0-0 every time my January is done. Now, no matter what I made, and I'm not going to talk about what I made because it can be toxic for people, and we discussed this some on Friday's show. And I don't want you guys to necessarily be worried about talking about your P&L, especially at the end of the day. When it's over, when you're talking about it, when it gets dangerous, and when you start possibly being able to hurt people when you're bragging about your numbers, is when you're, and I don't want to say somebody like me, like I'm somebody, I'm not. I'm just happen to have a camera and a microphone and be willing to talk. But if there are people that kind of look to you for things, that is when it becomes dangerous to start showing stuff, because then people want to try to make the numbers that you're making. Then they want to try to take the risk or to do all this other stuff. So it's very rare that I'm going to show P&L, and sometimes I'll show trades, but that's just like a small window or a small trading window. For the sake of these videos, I'll show stuff like that. But generally speaking, I'm going to avoid showing P&L on a daily basis and stuff like that. But my goal going into February is not to try to beat January. My goal going into February is just going to be continue to trade intelligent, continue to find early setups, find what's working, improve like the strategies that I'm doing. Are there things that I'm missing in them? If I'm having a hard time, like I think No FOMO said in chat that Tesla was giving him a hard time. The options were kind of playing weird, and they were playing a little weird with me, just depending on which ones I played with. And I kind of changed how I traded a little bit, or I kind of changed them a little bit early. Like I bought a little bit sooner, and maybe I held a little bit longer. I don't really recommend that. You could definitely get hurt more holding longer. I don't mean holding a red trade longer. I meant like I was green, I sold half, and then I kind of held it a little bit. Maybe I buy at different points. Maybe I make sure I only take trades when the stochastics are going in the direction I want it to go. Yes, I'm going to miss trades, but I'm not going to have as many losers either, because statistically speaking, if you're trading in the direction of the momentum, you're going to be a little bit better. Stochastics are a good indicator of that. So I'm going to tear down later in the day. I'm going to try to find technical setups. I'm going to be patient and actually wait for a trade that I want to take. I'm actually going to hunt and look for different things, and I'm not just going to trade because I can trade. My goal for February is I'm not going to be expecting the afternoon to trade the exact same as the morning. So instead of coming into the afternoon and expecting that names are going to move the same way that they move early, that's a recipe for disaster. I'm going to try to identify, as certain like blocks of time have passed, if a name is changing how it's moving, if it's hitting a resistance level, if there's some reason it's going down, if are there intraday levels that I need to wait for it to get through. I'm going to try to improve my trading. That is my goal for February. It's not to make more or less than what I made in January. And if you start focusing on the money going into the next month, there's a good chance you have a bad month. The chances of you having a hard time will skyrocket if you come in being like, okay, I made X, and I'm gonna hit it, and I'm just gonna make double that. I started off last month bad, or I was green and then I gave it all back and some, but then I made it all back. So if I hadn't have been that, so I'm gonna keep going the market. Like, I'm making money in the market right now. If, like, right now I'm on a decent streak, if I go into tomorrow with a new mindset of like, bam, here we go, there's a good chance that I start struggling because I'm taking my eyes off of what has helped me become successful in the second half of the month. Like, I had a good first week, rough week and a half, and then an amazing second half. So what did I do in that last week and a half, 2 weeks of trading? Okay, I need to continue to do that. If I'm having a hard time, I need to find a way to be consistent. I need to identify things that I'm doing wrong. I need to talk to maybe some people in here. Talk to people that you respect in the room that are in chat. You can reach out to me, CT Rose. Ask questions, Booth. Ask questions about different things, about like maybe your buy points or something like that, or I'm holding too long, or I'm not holding. It seems like I'm selling a little bit too quick. I only give it 2 seconds. We might tell you, hey, give it 5 seconds. Find something that you're either doing right or wrong and make a change. Not to. There are plenty of days when I, mess up in the afternoon, and Mitchell said it in chat. So just say, like, he's like, I don't know why I overtraded. I came back and I overtraded. There were a couple of days last month when I overtraded. I really want to focus on not overtrading. Booth said it in chat this morning. Stockbender in Discord, or Bending King. What do you say? Yeah, Stockbender. That he is trying not to bend. He's trying to curve his aggressive trading because an aggressive trader, there are times when you can make money, but you give it back and then it's like a drug. And if you have addictive personalities or addictive tendencies, making money and doing stuff like this is like a drug, and you almost get this type of high and this type of chasing and this type of just loss of all reality around you, kind of, and you're just going into something not really seeing what you're doing. So bending less, going aggressive less, and instead this is a setup, I like this, I don't like this. Recognizing the risk in a trade if it's near a 200 or something like that, instead of just taking it and hitting it. Being more selective is how I'm going to try to go forward in February to make money. And I had a really good month in January, and I'm not going to be like, hey, I'm going to, I don't have a financial goal other than what I talked about on Friday as my goal for the month. My goal is just to trade intelligently. It's just to improve. And if I could encourage you to do one thing, that would be what it would be going into February. Okay, you got a month in. Maybe your year is going exactly how you thought it was going to go. Maybe it's going 10 times better than you thought it would go. Maybe it's about where you could be. Maybe there are things you think you could do better. Nothing you can do about the last month. It doesn't matter what you did the previous January, or it doesn't matter what you thought you should be or where you could be. The only thing that matters is the reality that's in front of your face. The only thing that matters is where you're actually at. So what are you actually going to be able to do? What are some actual steps you can take to improve yourself in your trading? And I guarantee you this, it's not looking at the money. Even though I do recommend doing something like this, the reason, if you're going to trade all day, that I do that is not because I want you to look at the money. It's to have a type of accountability and honest accountability. Looking at using TraderView, TraderSync, where you can look at your days and you can look at your trades and you can do stuff like that to identify patterns, to identify trends, to correct yourself before it's too late. Because if you write down 2 or 3 red days in a row and you have to write that number, you're going to be less likely to continue without making a change. If you notice that every day you're giving back all of your money in the afternoon using this tracker, you're going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to stop. I'm up now. It's 11 o'clock or it's 10. I'm just going to stop now because I've noticed I keep giving it back. Or I'm going to size all the way down. And you'll start making changes and identifying ways that you can improve yourself. I think that's really the only way to continue in this game, unless you're just really, really good. You're like JR, and and even those people, JR and others are still growing and still improving, and we all help each other. But if you're really trying and you're still coming up and you still haven't quote unquote made it to where you technically don't have to work, or whatever it is, like you should still be trying to find ways to improve your game, improve your trading. I don't care if you made $500,000 last month. You should still be trying to not improve your numbers, but improve your actual trading, the actual things that you do. And you should actually be looking at that, looking at your shortcomings and then trying to adapt them and help yourself get better, as opposed to allowing the, how do I say it, just the crap, allowing the bad stuff to continue because you got away with it this month, because you caught some big moves. Don't let yourself get away with bad choices. Instead, make good choices. Go forward into February, the shortest month of the year, thinking about good choices. When you log on tomorrow, it doesn't matter what you did today. It doesn't matter what the month of January was. You're going to want to start off February green. You're going to want to start off February right. So don't get up and then give it back. Just find trades. Make intelligent choices. Don't trade scared. It's okay if you do start off with a red day. It's not the end of the world. Just like if last month you had a red month, it's not the end of the year. You have 11 more months. No one month defines you, I hope, as a trader. No one day needs to define you as a trader, and you should trade in a way that is not going to allow those 1 days or 1 months to define you. Instead, continue to build consistency and continue to build good habits. Continue to identify setups. Continue, like if I make a really good call, which, if that happens, you can always, and you don't know why I called it or what I saw, you can always ask. Preferably DM me, depending on if it's really busy. I'm not going to be able to start talking in the middle of the day. If Mitchell makes a good call, same thing to him. You can reach out. If somebody else is like, hey, I see this happening here in a name, and then it happens or it doesn't happen, you can ask questions to learn. You can track your P&L. So just a few small thoughts about going forward, as I want to leave January where it was. Very thankful that it was a good month for me and it was a green month. I'm sorry if it was not one for you. If there's anything I can do to help you, you can always reach out. I will try to get back to you. Sometimes I am slower, and I'm sorry about responding, but I'll do what I can. You can always reach out to other people in the rotation crew, or if you're in the Newsbeat live room, you can reach out to people in there, and we care and we do what we can to help you become more successful. On the note of people becoming successful, in case you didn't see the show on Friday, and I've already got, I think, one person or two that have reached out that want to do it. If you would like to come on the show, and you would like to kind of do either once a month or something like that, where we check in on you, and you could be at any level of success, where we kind of talk about your month, talk about how you've been trading, talk about things you've seen, or if you're somebody who, let's say, is under PDT and trying to get to PDT, and you're trying to become consistent. If you would like to come on and would like to kind of talk about that, I know that it's very helpful for traders who are coming up to hear other people who are in the middle of it and who are still trying to grow and who are still struggling. And it'll actually help that community when you have, if you have 10 or 15 people, and I'm not saying all on the show, but if those 10 or 15 people who are newer, who are still learning, hear you coming on, me asking you questions, you adapting, you growing, and then if they see you get there and they see you eventually get to that point, then that gives other people hope. So you coming on the show and you being willing to talk and answer questions, if it's something you're comfortable with, please message me in Discord, and I'd love to set up a time to have you come on to where we could do that and then give hope to people. I know a lot of us kind of came up What up? What's going on? I know that a lot of us came up with, Boof, and some people say me and others who got successful, and it was motivating to hear the stories of your success. So if you're newer, if you're working on your success, if you've gotten there, if you're about to quit your job because you're doing this and you'd like to come on and talk about it to kind of show that other people, hey, this can be done. Here's what I've been doing. Here's some of the things that I do. Then I reach out to me, and I'd love to have you on the show. I'd love to be able to talk about some of that with you guys. Any questions we have? Any questions you guys have before I end it? A shorter show tonight. Just it was a quick day for me. So market wise, I don't have a ton. I played Tesla early, played the green takes reds on the 2 minutes, and the moving averages on the 1. 8 and 21 seems successful for me. Got choppy. I gave a little back. I did not end at P&L highs. I was a couple grand off P&L highs. And that's it, Kirby. That's where it's at. That's the best thing you could do. I did the same. I got some new golf clubs. I went to that range instead. It's not a good, there's a good shooting range near me, but ammo. They don't always have ammo. But, yeah, I did that and locked it in. That's probably the best thing you could have done for yourself, man. Just knowing you needed to end the month green. That's just so powerful going into the next month. It really is powerful locking it in and starting the next month green. See some people typing in Discord. Hope you start the month up tomorrow too. I feel pretty good too. It feels like a pretty solid, like things have been pretty solid. Market's been choppy. Options have been trading different. One of my kids are crying. Sorry. Yeah, it was. It was a tough month. Or it could have been, definitely. You had a lot going on this month with the down move. And if you're not used to playing puts, I think this was the only month in my year and a half that I've made more on puts than calls. Like through all of my trading, January, now granted we had some big down moves, but I made more in puts than calls, and that has never happened before. You mean down in Florida? Yeah, I completely ignore the stochastics in the first like 15, or I say 15 minutes, but the first 15 minutes of the day. Like look at this in Tesla here on the 1 minute. Like all this. Like I play C strategies early, not stochastics. So like right here, I could care less what the stochastics are doing. If Tesla's ripping up, I don't care if they're pointed down. So I pretty much ignore stochastics for the first, until the market settles in. And then once the market settles in, and it kind of figures out what it wants to do, and it gets in its channel or its range, that's when I start using the stochastics. And I will use them like in here. So once it's been up top for a little bit, and you get a failed breakout, I'll shift L this. This is the other time I use them. When you get something like this, it pops up, and then you kind of have a failed breakout here on the 1 minute chart, and kind of chops around. At this point, you got the stochastics going down. I'm like, okay, I need to wait for another moving average to hit, and then I'll wait for everything to kind of set up and get down to the bottom. And then when they get down to the bottom and start curling, that's when I'm looking for an entry after they hit another moving average or something. So you had a little failed, continuation, failed breakout here. It needs to hit the 8. all right, I'm not front running here, I'm not front running here. Stochastics are down at the bottom. They kind of probably started going sideways like this, like kind of curling a little bit. I'm then looking for an entry. It doesn't necessarily, it might still need to go down. That just when my interest starts peaking, starts ticking up, and then I buy, in there. So that's the that's the other time I use them. But I do ignore them in the first however many minutes that is. That's like 30 minutes. It's very rare that I use them in the first 30 minutes, except for letting me know when to stop. That's when I get that failed breakout. Yep. And then stochastics works well when you're in those ranges. So I hope you guys had a good month. If you want to come on and talk about your month, if you have questions, if you had a hard month, feel free to message me. You can hit me up on Discord. If you had a great month and there were some things that you noticed, or you just have thoughts about going into the next month, I'd be glad to hear about it too. Write them in the comments. So if you did good, guys, reset, 0-0, come in and focus on things you can do better. You can always reward yourself and be glad that you traded good, but make sure you're making money because you're trading smart. If you're making bad choices catch up to you. So if you're making bad choices and you just happen to make money and February ends up being a hard month, I don't know what it's going to be, you're going to give that back times 2. But if you trade intelligently this month and you trade even more intelligently next month, you're going to be happy with where you're at the end of February. That's just my opinion. That's just my thoughts on the matter. So, take that for what it is. But that's what I personally am doing going into the next month. Wednesday night, probably, unless somebody's coming on the show or something, we'll probably do some trade reviews or something. I'm still working on pictures and videos to do some other stuff, some other strategy videos and things, along with getting some other guys that want to come on the show. So just some of the stuff that's coming forward. Busy time for me in my personal life. So if I am slow or if I'm anything else, I am currently selling my home. So I'm in the middle of taking everything out of my home, putting it in storage during the day, and then getting it clean, getting it ready for showing. So we're hopefully going under contract or hopefully on the market in the next month. So very busy time, but I will try to stay consistent with shows and with posting videos and all that other stuff. With that, if there's no other questions, I hope this was helpful. Go into the next month clean, and let's be smart, guys. Love trading with you all. Be smart. I'll see you tomorrow. I hope you had a great January, and let's make February even better.